Good evening and salutations, my GH fans. I'm not gonna lie, this episode really didn't offer much of anything. I can't think of one thing that really happened that was just like, whoa, okay, so this is changing something. This happened for a reason and it got to a conclusion and it revealed something. I can't think of one scene where anything got resolved or anything moved from point A to point B. Carly and Go Sunny didn't go anywhere. It literally went nowhere. I watched this scene and it was just like, oh, so, like, what is this doing? I mean, literally, the only thing that happens is that she talks to Go Sunny and talks about the business and how, listen, this, what it is, you're going, Jason is on the run, I gotta do this to protect my family. She starts drinking scotch because it reminds her of Sunny, and they talk about Michael, and it really doesn't go anywhere. The only thing that really happens is that it just reaffirms her position of wanting to be, the head of the family and the mob and just everywhere that counts. That's it. That's literally the whole scene. Um, which I'm not gonna lie, kind of annoyed me because I was just like, man, when are we gonna get to Sunny actually being Sunny again? And like seeing this scene was just like, what? Besides the fact that I felt like it was entirely pointless. Um, what else was in this episode? Maxie and Brooklyn. This was another scene, and I don't mean to be like the bearer of bad news or just Mr. Negativity or anything like that, but I can't think of one thing that really happened. I mean, Brooklyn comes over to Maxie's place. They start to talk about the plan, but then Maxie's like, listen, we can't really do anything without Britt. So they call Britt a couple of times. She's not answering the phone. They realize that, Britt is quote unquote being, held hostage by Jason, which they both know is not true. But then there's another issue. Peter. Peter comes over and he pretty much just acts like a creep. He comes over and he has like a milkshake and some other stuff, and he's like, oh, I just want to make sure you're okay. I heard you talking to someone. What's going on? And Max is like, oh, I was just, talking about, just podcast and fell asleep and yada, yada, yada. I mean, this whole scene was just creepy. Just literally creepy. And towards the end, because just to get Peter out the house faster, Max was like, listen, I got a potential person, potential nurse that looks like they're gonna be good, and I'm gonna call them tomorrow and make sure everything is copacetic. So with that being said, um Britt, I mean not Britt, Peter's like, oh well, I know I'm not wanted. No, you don't. You don't know when you're not wanted because you're here. Like, you've been coming over here for a while, and she clearly seemed like she didn't want no parts of you. So what do you mean? Oh, I know when I'm not welcome. But of course, at some point when Maxie goes to put some food away or whatever, um, Peter takes a Peter takes a picture of the person that Maxie's going to be hiring. So when he gets outside, he talks to someone. He's like, oh, says something along the lines of, well, we're going to sit there and check out this candidate that Maxie seems to like, or something along those lines. And he says something along the lines of, well, it depends on her or something. So I have no idea what that's about, but I'm pretty sure it's not going to be good for Maxie. Like, I feel like Peter's going to be using this nurse as a spy for Maxie. I mean, towards Maxie. And honestly, tell you the truth, when Maxie and Peter, when Maxie and Brooklyn talked, Maxie was like, "Listen, we can't do this plan without Britt. Like how are we gonna do this?" And Brooklyn's like, "Oh, we're gonna go to Plan C, whatever that is." Okay, that's cool. I can't but help sit there and think, well, what is Plan C? Do you have an idea what Plan C is? So this week, it's Cliffhanger Friday. You're gonna give me something so I can go into. I can sit there and think about what's gonna happen on Monday. No? Okay, cool. So that's two scenes that didn't really go anywhere. What else happened? Um, let's see. Let's talk about Dante and Sam. So they're in Jason's place or whatever, or the safe house. Dante and I was gonna sit there and say Kelly Monaco. Dante and Sam, and they look around, they see some blood or whatever of Jason's. Well, they see some blood in the back or whatever, and they both realize that listen, Jason's hurt and it's pretty serious. But with that being said, Dante's upset with Sam because Sam went off without Dante. Like, what are you doing? Like, you just left me, and like, what are you doing? You plan on telling them in or whatever? At this point, Sam's like, listen, you're a cop, and like, you know how I feel about cops at this point. So with that being said, Dante is like, yo, listen, I'm bringing you in for questioning. So he brings her in for questioning. Now at this point, there's another scene that went somewhere, okay? And this is the Olivia and Robert scene. Pretty much, Olivia was like, she came over there to hover around Dante. She was like, oh, well, like, what is he doing back here? What is he doing on the force? He shouldn't be back here so soon, and yada, yada, yada. And I'm just sitting there thinking, Dante is a grown-ass man. Like, I get that you have concerns about him, going back on the force with, his PTSD and everything like that, but he's been clear, and clearly people think that he's fit enough to actually do his job, so why don't you stop treating him like a 12-year-old kid? Maybe you could try doing that. She's talking to Robert, and Robert's like, why don't you like go home? And Olivia's like, she's pretty much just gonna wait for Dante to come to the station, and Robert's like, why don't you go home and like work on your marriage? Like, why don't you do that? And Olivia says some offhanded comment like, well, what is there really to work on? At this point, I felt like the way this conversation was going is like Olivia just kind of checked out on her marriage. She talked about the great time that she had with Robert, being a spy and doing something other than being a mom, and Ned's wife. I was gonna call him Justin. Ned's wife. She felt like kind of free and liberating. She said, when she talked to Ned, the look on his face is like he kind of resented her. And so at this point, it just seems like she just kind of more or less kind of checked out. So, to be honest, I'm like, the way you're looking at this is like, well, what is there really to salvage? Okay, Olivia. Dante does come in, and Sam comes in also, and Dante's like, listen, I gotta sit there and question. This is after, once again, Olivia's like, are you okay? What are you doing back on the force? Yada, yada, yada. The usual baby and Dante again, like he's a 12-year-old child. Once we get past that, Dante pretty much tells Olivia that you're not going to be sitting there questioning Sam. So, I don't remember that's what wound up happening. Sam went into the interrogation room to talk to Robert. And Olivia just kind of mentioned the fact that, listen, she's on parole, right? Like, if you arrest her, it could violate her parole, and, she's going to be missing from her kids. So just ask yourself if you really want to go down that route. More or less is what she said. Meanwhile, Robert is sitting there trying to interrogate Sam. You know what Sam says that Spinelli didn't say? Lawyer. I'm not saying anything without my lawyer. And that pretty much ended that. But of course, Robert says something, or Sam says something like, you need to sit there and let Jason go and go after Peter. And Robert says something, and I forgot what, and then he just walked off. Dante comes back in the room, It's like, listen, I'm gonna let you go because you didn't really do anything, and I'm not gonna sit there and have you violate your parole to be missing from your kids. But with that being said, now that I'm a cop and your loyalty towards Jason, yeah, this whole friendship kind of thing, yeah, I don't really see that happening. So Sam leaves, and Dante just kind of stands there. Or Dante leaves, I forgot which one. One of them leaves. They have that look on their face, and one of them leaves. So that scene went somewhere. That's one. Or two, I think. Cam talks to Jocelyn, and he apologizes for the way he came at, Jocelyn, and realized that, tells her that Jason didn't do it. But then Cam is like, listen, here's the thing. I picked up the gun, and I could have shot Jason. Now, for a good 5 to 7 minutes, Cam just has this look like his whole friendship with Jocelyn is up in the air. Because, Jocelyn's like, listen, if you would have shot him, there's no going back. I'm not forgiving you for that. That's the one thing I just, one of many things that I just can't forgive you for. So, at first she's coming at him extremely hard, and Cam is like, you're acting like I shot him. I didn't shoot him. I told you that because I want to be honest with you. So for a good 3 minutes, it's just kind of up in the air. Long story short, Jocelyn's like, listen, you didn't do it, so we're good, and everything's peachy. So, yeah, not gonna lie, that whole conversation could have been kind of cut it short, but I guess they needed to add the extra minute for, well, running out the clock, I guess. But yeah, everything is good with them, and they leave, and that's pretty much about it. But, Cam is like, listen, what's wrong with me? Like, I almost shot someone today. And Liz was sitting there saying, well, you're under a lot of stress, and you're under duress, and yada, yada, yada. I'm like, really, what it comes down to is, Liz, get that boy some help ASAP. Because there's not going to be a next time. Just throwing it out there. The kid is a good kid, but he has anger issues, and yeah. Willow and Chase. Not gonna lie, didn't really go anywhere. There was one part where Michael walked in, and they told Michael that Jason's been shot. He leaves. Honestly, to tell you the truth, the look on Willow and Michael's face when Michael walked in, it's like they look guilty as hell, and Chase was just too sick or delusional to just not notice like there's something going on. But yeah, Michael leaves. Chase is feeling slightly better, but he's not 100% there. And after a while, Willow gets so worried. Like, at one point, she's looking at her phone, and Chase is like, listen, why don't you be with him? Like, you're concerned for him and everything like that, and, whatever. So why don't you just leave and whatever. So she winds up leaving. Finn comes in there, and Chase is like, yo, when am I leaving? Like, I need to leave. Like, I need to leave now. And at one point, Finn is like, listen, you can't leave because it's too dangerous. Chase is like, well, what do you mean it's too dangerous? What's going on happening? Like, Finn gives him a list of reasons of why he can't leave, and pretty much is just like, like, we're going to sit there and fight this together. And that pretty much is about it for that part. And Anna and Valentine, the only thing that they did was plot. That was literally it. They talked about the fact that she can get a hold of the scientists that worked on the original cure or the original virus, then they may have a shot as far as finding the antidote, like if he has an antidote. Of course, that guy is dead or something, and the whole time, Valentine's like, why don't you go up there and talk to Finn? But she's obviously didn't do it, so that didn't really go anywhere. And The only thing that really happens is that Anna is just gonna sit there and try to find another route or another scientist, and Valentine is gonna approach it in a different way. So to be honest, it was another pointless scene that went absolutely nowhere. And for a Friday episode, it's like, could you give me something to work with? Like something to go on? Man, I really thought it was gonna be a Britt and Jason scene, but that's not gonna happen until Monday. And of course, Michael talks to Carly, and Michael's like, "Listen, what's going on? How is Jason doing?" And Carly's like, "Listen, I can't really say much." And Michael's like, "I want to help. What could I do?" And Carly's like, "More or less nothing." So, and I hate to sit there and say that, but it's just like, all right, so like your character. Sometimes with Michael, I just would like him to do more. Like I would like to get him into more stuff. Like this whole like there's a point where he's talking to Willow, and they both agree that they feel guilty about sneaking behind Chase's back. They can't really do anything or anything like that until Chase feels better. So at this point, it's like, well, what is Michael's role in this show? It's like I would like to get him to do stuff. Like if he can get into a storyline or something, because he's been in storylines before where it's been interesting, and now it's just like, all right, so what was Michael's purpose in this show so far? I mean, he has a thing with Willow. He goes out with Sasha, but he's not really doing anything. Like, I don't want to sit there and say he's a pointless character, but it's like he's one step away from being nearly as pointless as Christina. Unless they give Christina something to do, it's like, well, what is the point of you being on the show? Like, I love the actress, but she hasn't been on the show in a while just because they don't really have anything much for her to do. And the same thing with Michael. It's like, all right, so you're doing this whole love triangle thing or whatever, but it's like, I don't know. I just wish he would do something beyond this back and forth with Willow, and then he's with Sasha, now he's back with Willow, and now he can't be with Willow because Chase is in the hospital, and like, really? I'm gonna be honest, I think that's about it. I think that's really honestly about it. And I gotta sit there and say, this episode, and like I said in the beginning, this episode was not that great. And I was just sitting there thinking, while I was like getting some water and stuff like that, when episodes like this happens, and the episode is just kind of middle of the road, not really a great episode, and I talk about it, it almost makes me feel like my review isn't going to be that good. And then I'm just like, no, it's not the review. It was just this episode. I mean, Anna and Valentine, there was no point to them being on the show. They didn't do anything. They didn't move the storyline with these characters anywhere. So it was like, why were they there? Same thing with Brooklyn and Maxie. They talked about a plan. They didn't really talk about much about the plan because they couldn't do the plan because Britt isn't there. So their whole point of being in this episode was kind of pointless. I mean, hell, even when Peter came in, he acted like a creep. He left. He took some photos. He started talking to some guy or woman about something, and then it didn't really go anywhere. I mean, it seems like it might go somewhere, but it like... And then Carly talking to Ghost Sunny was like, why does this need to happen? I mean, I guess the whole point of it was to probably, once again, to kind of reassure Carly that she's doing the right thing, and that, even though that she's, kind of feeling like she's a little bit over her head, she never imagined doing this, it is what it is, and she's the only person at the time that could really step up. So, but other than that, the whole Ghost Sunny thing, it was just like, this is so dumb. Like, I hate to be a negative Nancy, but it was just like, this didn't go anywhere. Other than that, I guess you just kind of look at the meaning of it. So it was like, okay, I guess that's something. Dante's and Sam's friendship is kind of fractured. So I don't know about this whole hooking up thing, which again, you know, I remind people that they both share a sibling, but whatever. I feel like at this point the writers may just do whatever the writers want to do, and I guess when the ratings start to dip, they realize that they might have made a bad mistake, and hopefully they can course correct. Michael, Chase, and Willow scene was at this point is like rinse and repeat. Like the same stuff that's been going on since Chase has been in the hospital has not changed. They both agreed that they can't do anything until Chase gets better. You know what? In this episode, Chase didn't get better. So they're just talking about the same thing. Like, this is why sometimes I feel like, did this review not come out well, or was this the episode? And I'm just like, you know what? God damn it. I'm going to blame the damn episode for that. But again, Sam did sit there and say something that Spinelli should have said, which was lawyer, but whatever. I don't know. I feel like I kind of missed something, but I can't remember what I did. I mean, I can't remember if I missed anything or was it just on rinse or repeat, because nothing majorly happened. This episode was kind of a more of a middle of the road kind of episode. I feel like you could have just read the synopsis on like the internet, like, and you just would have been just all caught up because nothing majorly important happened. So, with that being said, I'm gonna go. I want to thank everyone for watching. Let me know what your thoughts are in this episode. Did you like it? Did you not like it? Why? Why not? And again, from time to time, I will probably be peeking in on some of the other people that do reviews, because it's always very interesting to watch everyone's style and how they do their stuff, and it's really interesting. Plus, I kind of like doing soap opera reviews more than like reviews for other shows, because it's so much of a smaller space, and a lot of people don't really do reviews on soap operas. Like I said, I can count 5 people that have done reviews on soap operas. And I still watch Brock TV every now and then because that's my guy, and he kind of inspired me to do these reviews. So if you see cake emojis in the comment section, well, it's me. So yes, with that being said, I'm going to go. I want to thank everyone for watching. Happy Mother's Day to everyone who is a mother, and I hope everyone has a great weekend. Be safe. I will catch you in the next video.